Are you listening? Damn.
Hey guys, I'm Courtney,
And I'm Josh.
and welcome to the Infinite Balance Podcast.
We'll navigate parenting, relationships, health, fitness, and so much more.
So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and let's hang out.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hello.
Hello.
We have a very special guest today, a good friend of mine from childhood. His name is Mr. Chris Skully,
Oh, you got it right.
otherwise known as the Hendrix Reborn.
I wish. I wish I could only be so gifted as he.
You're really good, man. I got to tell you,
Oh, thanks.
keeping up with the the videos and stuff that you post, and just from hearing you back in the day, like in our college days,
Mhm.
you're a talented dude. You
Oh,
have
thanks.
a lot of good talent.
I took a little bit of a break only because I had some depression stuff, and it took me away from wanting to play. It was one of those instances where I lost all want to do anything pleasurable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And after getting on some stuff, things finally clicked back into my brain. And in the last, I would say probably due to one of the wonderful things is probably due to the quarantine. I had so much time that I just one day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up and see where I'm at
Right.
after a year or so of not playing. And I was pleasantly surprised that I was okay, after not, stretching for a while.
And you posted that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the
I
beginning of
remember
the
seeing the
beginning of the
video.
quarantine. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's very nice.
I feel like I've progressed a little bit as time has gone on. I feel like I'm getting better as the quarantine goes on.
You're getting your groove back.
Right, pretty much.
So what was the depression from? Just being burnt out, or everything
Yeah,
going on, or what?
just everything in general. I mean, I've had generalized anxiety for a long time, and it kind of came to a culmination with burnout from job and just everything. And I was just like, I can't be creative. I nothing felt good. So I had to find something that worked for me to get my creative brain going again.
And was that before or after you started the diet and the exercise?
That was before. Yeah. So I would definitely say probably starting to get healthy. Starting to get healthy probably helped my brain chemistry
Mm-hmm.
snap back into order. I
Okay.
mean, other things, medication, and all
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff, therapy and stuff.
But
So,
it definitely seems to have helped.
Oh yeah, it's very much so. I would say with first 3 to 4 months, things changed. Like my brain, I felt better physically, and when you start feeling better phically, then
Right.
you're going to start feeling better mentally. And
Right.
so I was wanting to do things again.
Nice.
I think I agree with that completely because I know when I got back into fitness, that's when overall I was like, oh, things
You feel great, right? Yeah.
better.
Yeah, things are all right. They're not as bad as they were. Yeah. So I think I'm going to probably say that besides medicine, getting healthier was a definite boost to my mental chemistry, which allowed me to want to actually, because I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to work. I wanted to come home. I wanted to sit on the couch and zone out, and that was
Yeah.
it.
But with the stuff the content that I've seen on your Instagram, man, you've made a ton of progress, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's to emphasize. I don't know what your starting weight it was, or if you're
Oh,
comfortable with sharing that.
yeah, I'll comfortable. I don't care anymore. I've had a lot of people ask.
Go for it, because you made an incredible stride, and
Yes,
there's no,
so
it's not even you have put in the work and run the
yeah,
marathon.
and I'm weird about it because I don't like talking about it. I know it feels weird, like I'm self-centered or something like that, but then I also like doing it because then if other people hear it, then if somebody average like me can do it, then anybody can do it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is the biggest inspiration is actually an A-list celebrity. So Kevin Smith is probably my biggest inspiration for this.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Because he dropped, like, he was big like me, and he dropped like 350 pounds in the last couple of years.
And
So
if you guys don't know who Kevin Smith is, he's Bob
yeah,
of Jay and Silent Bob.
Silent Bob.
Everybody
Yep.
knows them.
Yeah. So I went to see a live show from him, and he had just had a heart attack because of the weight. So at that point, I was at my heaviest. I didn't know my weight yet, and I had gone to the show, and I was so heavy I couldn't sit in the seats in the theater. I had to sit in the like stairs by all the seats, which was bad enough as it is. That was embarrassing. And that's when I knew. I was like, you know what? No, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I was like, if he can do it, then I can do it. And so like
he lost a ton too.
He lost a ton, insane amount of weight. So like the next day I went through my provider, and I found a general practitioner, and I scheduled it, and it was like that next week he was like, yeah, no, we have an opening for you, come in, we'll get you going and whatever. I was like, cool. I was like, it's my first physical in like a decade. And I went in, and they weighed me, and that was like a eye opener. I weighed 553 pounds.
Okay.
I was heavy enough to almost be on that damn show. And so I got into the doctor's office, and he finally came in, and he was like, okay, so like, here's the deal. Like, you're going to die. He's like, it may not be now, but here shortly, you're going to die. You need to make significant changes in your life, significant for you to stay alive. And he's like, I will not do lap band or gastric bypass. I will not do any of that. I will not sign off on that. He's like, too many people have done it and have just gained all the weight back because it's the easy way out. And they don't want to put any. There's no work. You're not working towards something.
Right.
We don't realize that after you have it, that's when you have to start.
Yes,
working.
that's all.
Change your diet up.
You have to change your life. Yeah. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm like, I'm willing to do this. I want to put the work in. I want to get healthy. You know what I mean? I want to live. I've got a lot to do in my life. And he's like, okay, cool. He's like, we have a nutritionist dietitian. She's right across the hall from me. I'm going to leave now. We did the whole physical and like turn and cough and all that stuff to make sure it was okay.
Aspect.
Yeah, classic. I mean, there was some other stuff like he had to schedule me a colonoscopy because of my mom, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like he was like, he's like, you need blood work. Luckily, I don't have diabetes or any of that. I mean, definitely not now. But like, luckily, I didn't have diabetes then when I was at my heaviest.
I gotta say that's pretty amazing because that's usually the number
one. Tell me about
it.
it. Yeah, like disease with heaviest is like having diabetes. I had no diabetes, so cancer galore in my family. No diabetes. So I literally left from his office after the physical and went right across the hall to the dietitian. And she sat me down and she's like, I just got the whole story from your GP. And she's like, I want to set you up on a plan that's going to be for success. And she's like, it's not going to be for the short time. It's going to be for a long time. And she's like, you're going to have to make changes that are going to be the changes for the rest of your life. This is not going to be 2 years from now. This is not going to be 3 years from now. This is going to be for the next 45 years of your life. This is the way it's going to have to be.
Right.
And she's like, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot. And to start, you're going to have to sacrifice. She's like, in many years down the road, you may be able to bend a little bit, but for the most part, you're going to have to be very diligent and very strict about everything. And there's a lot of having to learn to have a better relationship with food because depression, you eat your feelings, and that's something that I'm not an alcoholic or a drug addict or any. I never had any of those codependent like things. Food though is a comfort, so I definitely had to learn to have a better relationship with it. So she's like, "Have you ever tried keto?" Up until then, I had no idea what that is.
Yeah.
I never heard about it ever. And I was like, no, I have no idea. I was like, is that a drug? I don't know what that is. I was like, I have no idea. She's like, well, no.
Ketosplenosis? What is that?
What is that? Yeah. She's like, I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, it's you have to cut most of the carbs out of your diet. She's like, we're gonna do some tests. We're gonna see like how many you're going to be able to have, like where I want you to be. So she put me out. She got me like an app to put on my phone, which I've used for now going on 3 years. I log everything that goes in my body besides liquids gets put on the app. I mean, if it's a little thing, I don't care if it's a cheese cube. It goes on there. Yeah. It goes on the app because she said more people have better luck and more longevity with this if they log or journal everything that they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes for exercise too. I put all my exercise in there too. Like everything I do goes right in there. All my running, all my everything goes right into that thing. So I have a log for everything I do. So she's like, you're going to get about 25 carbs a day. That's how many you're gonna be having. You can have a lot of calories, but she's like, I doubt that you're even gonna meet that macro. She's like, once you start this, your stomach's gonna shrink. Like I could barely finish a salad. So, so yeah, I did that, and I was cranky for the first like couple of months because I got like the keto flu and like I was eating nothing but salads for like 2 months straight.
Yeah, and it's a huge body transition too, because not many people realize. Like people, I've heard a lot of people hear keto and then they think, oh, it's Atkins evolved. Or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, I'm eating sticks of butter and like like dipping them in like lard. Like no.
And your brain's functioning works mainly off a lot of carbs, and it really is like a full body chemistry makeover when you do
it really is. So I had to I'm high protein and low carbohydrates, mid fat. So lots and lots. I mean, I'm like 85% vegetarian, so like 85% of my diet is vegetables.
Okay.
For the most part. And I do like the rest of it is protein. So eggs, chicken. I'm not a big red meat guy. Never have been. So I eat a lot of chicken, a lot. I do bacon, but not all the time. Every once in a while, I'll have some bacon because it's good.
Yes,
yes, it is good. So I do, but I moderation, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
She got me onto intermediate fasting. So like, she basically was like, "Well, you don't eat when you sleep, right?" I was like, "Well, at least I don't think I do." And
unless I start sleepwalking.
I start sleepwalking and eating a piece of cheesecake while I sleep. No. She's like, well, you already, 7-8 hours of sleeping. You're basically you're fasting for 8 hours or 7 hours. She's like, just slowly tack on more hours as you go. So she's like, okay, try 2 hours or 3 hours after you get up in the morning. She's like, don't have breakfast. She's like, at least for the first 3 hours you're awake. Try just liquids. I was like, okay. I was like, how's coffee? She's like, fine. But she's like, here's the big thing that I'm going to tell you. She's like, the biggest one, like cutting out carbs is one thing. She's like, sugar.
Yep.
No mas. No more sugar. She's like, no. And she was like, that doesn't mean you can have Splenda. That means no Splenda, no artificial sweeteners, no aspartame, no any of that for at least a while until your body gets acclimated to everything you're doing.
None of the OSE words.
None of that. So I stopped everything. I didn't have a diet soda for a year. No sugar whatsoever, unless it was in naturally occurring things like vegetables and stuff has naturally occurring sugars. So I would do that.
And yes, there are naturally occurring sugars in vegetables.
Yes, vegetables and meats and things like that. And
for
cheese.
Anybody listening that says this fool just talked about it, no, it's 100%
true. Yeah, it's in everything. It's not the stuff they put into products, but I've never been a big snack guy, so like I didn't have to worry about that. I don't do Quest bars or or like any of that stuff.
Do
I've
you do
thought about
supplements for your workouts, like any protein shakes or anything like
nope,
that?
nope. I take a men's one a day.
Hey, it's you know,
I mean, that's about as supplementy as I get.
okay.
Um, I do that, and I mean, and that's for a while. That was my thing. I did like salads or protein on it for like a year
Mhm.
before I even thought about. Before I went and did, and I would we did a thing where I didn't have to go into the office. She would like she should have set up this thing on my phone where she can like check in on me, and we would have like online like sessions where she's like, "Well,
Yeah,
how you doing? Let me see, like take a screenshot. Let me see your macros for the day." Like,
yeah.
and she's like, after about a year, she was like, "You don't need me anymore. You got this." She's like, just keep doing what you're doing. She's like, she gave me a bunch of stuff to follow, a lot of like people to research that do a lot of great stuff that are like, here, go follow these people. They're really good help. They're gonna give
Yeah.
you a lot of great advice. Read this stuff. Like she's
Did
like,
she
you're gonna
give you
have
anything from Mark Sisson?
yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
Hmm.
pronouncing his name right, but
Yep,
he
that's
was
about
one of
right.
our instructors at IAN, so that's why
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yep, and Dr. Ken something is his name. I can't remember. He's from the South.
Mhm.
He's another guy that's like a big keto doctor.
Y'all gotta
Or
get rid of
great.
them carbs.
Yep. And so for the longest time, I did that for about a year, and I couldn't believe it. Like it felt because she literally was like, well, the more you have, the easier it is it's gonna to lose.
Mhm.
And she's like, all you have to do is start changing little things in your life. And it's diet, what you're putting in your body. And she's got to be, when I saw her, she was 35. So yeah, she's about my age. So like, she's a pretty young, hip doctor. And she's like, well, I'm going to put it to you like this. It's like fuel. If you put regular, nasty, unleaded gas in a Ferrari, you're going to ruin the engine.
Tear it apart.
So
Yeah.
you need to put super in.
Yeah.
So she's like, you need to start putting stuff in your body
Work
that
for it.
what's going to work for it. And so she's like, vegetables, lots of vegetables, like
Yeah.
greens. She's like broccoli and kale, and like she's like, stay no starches, so like no potato and no I think rutabagas are okay. I haven't had one in a long time. I don't know. No potatoes. I don't know. I don't do any kind of enriched flour. I don't do any kind of wheat flour. I don't do rice, pasta, noodles. I don't remember what a potato tastes like.
Do you miss it?
Nah, not
Yeah,
one bit. Not one
that's
bit.
good.
In the
I think
last,
you're one of the solid cases where like you've gone through such a transformation that it's almost so difficult that it's easy now,
yeah, I mean,
because you made such a big dramatic change.
and like I still go out to eat. Like
Yeah.
it's not like I don't do that. I mean, I just find every restaurant has a salad.
Mhm.
So if I go somewhere and they don't really have anything that's keto centric, I'll just order a salad. I'm not burnt out on them. I can still eat them, but a lot of places now are getting on that whole thing where they have like a
Yeah.
section of their menu that's keto friendly. Besides that, I work out a lot. Work out
Mhm.
a lot. I run 4 to 5 miles 4 days a week, 3 days a week. I just ran 4 miles today,
That's
and
impressive.
then I 2 years ago I couldn't walk a quarter mile without losing my breath.
And to tell you the truth, I'm pretty surprised because when I knew you, like in our A&P days and
Hmm.
in our high school days, like as far as I knew, you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at you. Like you were obviously like a heavy person,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
you were actually so active for such a
yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's one of the things that might have saved you from becoming diabetic
Oh,
was,
probably.
because
Yeah.
you did use your energy. You did everything from like I don't remember you just sitting and lounging a whole lot. You were always like doing something, and
I
you would walk from your house to A&P.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back when I was younger, I was super active. I
Yeah.
think probably, like after my mom passed, like the depression really kicked in, and that's when I started like eating my feelings and like not caring, getting comfortable, and then that's when it got out of control. And I was
Yeah.
like, I can't do this anymore. Like I hit my rock bottom, and I was like, yep, nope, done. Sorry, nope, can't do this anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel much better for it, but I do. I mean, besides running, I do other things like push-ups and like calisthenics and I got like 4-gallon water bottles that are like taped together that I use as like weights and like yeah stuff like that to work other parts of my body
Yeah.
because like my legs are great, but like now they got like the bat wings and like you know what I mean, like from like all that stuff, and I'm trying to get rid of those
Yeah.
without having to get surgery. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's a mind over matter thing. If you can put your mind to it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mentality is, I was actually just
yeah,
saying this with someone yesterday. Mentality is a choice.
yeah,
Like what your
hmm
mentality is with something, like
yeah,
that's your choice.
yeah,
Like you choose to either be like all in
or
or
yeah,
not at all.
yeah. You can't be now. Keto is a forgiving diet, and I mean, for most people, it's a diet. I have to make it a lifestyle because if I don't, I'll just backslide, and I can't do that. So like now it's just a lifestyle. This is how I eat. I prefer it. I don't. I tried a noodle like 3 months ago, and I was like, this is gross.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, thank you. I don't want this. But I mean, I've got a little. I have some things, that now I feel comfortable and I have a better relationship with stuff that I feel like I can have. So there are certain stores like Aldi's. They do like a zero carb bread, or I will make my own like cloud bread or something like that. So there are workarounds for
Yeah.
things.
And a lot of the stuff
So
that you post on your Instagram, like, you had, there's a lot of like delicious looking foods,
yeah, there's a lot
And
of
like
there's a
I
lot of
remember hitting you up
workarounds.
for a couple of them being like,
Mm,
what is that? Because that looks great. Like I
I think
went
my
straight up Tony the Tiger on it. Like, great.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you have to because you'll get bored really fast.
Yeah.
You'll get bored really fast if you eat nothing but salads.
Mhm.
So you have to do your research and you have to find the stuff that tastes good for one thing because you're not going to eat it if it doesn't taste good.
Yep.
And then also that it's giving you all of your nutrition, your vitamins, your fats, your good fats for the day. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I still have carbohydrates. I have maybe 25 carbs total for a day.
Mhm.
But I always have a deficit because I do so much activity. Like I like even on my slow days, like after I'm done, because I sit, I'm a keyboard jockey, so I sit for 8 hours a day. Like I by that like 5:30, 6 o'clock phase, I'm like itching. Like I can't sit anymore. Like sometimes I'll stand and type because I'm just like I can't
Right. Right. I was gonna.
physically sit here for any longer, and like I'm itching to like get up, put my shoes on, and like go take a run. I mean, you can ask my partner, like twice. So usually like Wednesday, Thursday after work, it's like I get up from my desk, I in jogging stuff on, and I'm like I feed the cat and I'm out the door. I kiss him goodbye, like he's making dinner, and I'm just like I'll be back in a half hour.
Yep. Gotta
And then
do
I
something.
go and I'm like I go run like 3 miles or whatever and come back. But like it makes me feel better. Winter is a little tougher for me
Mhm.
because I hate go. Well, you can't really go to the gym right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't go to the gym right now. So like right now, I'm glad that it's still a mild fall that I can go and run outside and just kind of put a sweater on or whatever. But soon enough, here like December, January, February, that's when like it gets really tough, and you kind of have to like tighten the belt physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Whereas like I can't exercise as much as I did like before. I can't get enough like cardio. So
Mhm.
like I found some other things that I can do to supplement that, but like it won't be as much as I am now. So like I'm glad that I've gotten enough this summer fall to like hold me over till
Yeah.
the springtime.
If you ever need ideas too, I know.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm going to order some resistance bands here soon because I know I've seen
Yeah,
memes.
I remember talking to you about that.
And I'm like, they're in my Amazon cart right now, and I'm going to get those, and hopefully that'll help me in this the winter lull.
Oh, they're awesome, man, because you can go as hard or as cardio or whatever as you want.
Yeah, I saw. It's great.
They're very versatile, and like even for muscle heads, like I'm including them in my workouts. I don't really care about losing weight for myself, because like I'm the body type that I need muscle to eat away at what to burn off calories and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's my body's gotten to that point where it's just gaining muscle and burning away the fat with it. But I'm like, I don't want to be one of those muscle heads who you're
can't put your arms down. Yeah,
like this. And so they're good for like range of motion of all of your body parts, because you can work literally all axes of your body.
Oh, that's great.
It's awesome. Yeah,
we actually because like I do Beachbody, we actually have a program coming out in December that it's not all focused on resistance bands, but it's like the first program where it's like, okay, you get like a door jam resistant band contraption thing, and they're making it like you don't need weights, you can use resistance bands, because so many people don't realize that. They don't realize that, I don't have weights, that well then I can't do something. When
yeah,
it's like, there's other options.
There's other options. The excuse that's a cop out.
Yeah.
It's a cop out. Like,
let it happen, folks.
Like, that's a cop out, man. Go get some books from your library and tie a rope around them and lift books. Like, anything heavy will do.
And one of I was featured on a podcast recently, and I don't mean to keep bringing it up, as a cheesy plug to the podcast, but one of the questions that the guy asked me was, he was like, so what kind of tips can you give to parents if they don't have weights and you can't afford stuff? I said, use your kids. I said, like growing up, I used to wrestle with my family, and it was all fun and games. And like with my kids, like you can literally, you have them both hold on to a hand and you lift them. It's literally just, you have a 20-pound, 30-pound weight running around, and they love it. It's fun.
They think it's great.
There's so many body weight exercises that like if you just like look into body weight exercises, even that'll give you something.
I mean, it's really about doing the research.
Room with nothing, and you have nothing at all.
Like, what kind of life do you live that you have nothing? Just like get anything. Like, is it heavy? Is it heavy? Yes. Awesome. I can use this. Like, everybody's got stuff in their house.
Exactly.
And even if it's not heavy, you can use stuff. You can use random things.
Water. I use water bottles. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I use water bottles. Like. That I refilled.
You remember the Nintendo Wii, when the Wii Fit first came out?
Yes.
That was actually one of their exercises. It would say, to use the Wiimote to do tricep extensions.
Oh yeah.
So it said to do that at first, and then it said if you want to increase the weight, go get a 16-ounce water bottle. Start with that, and you have the fluctuating weight. Move up to a gallon. Move up. Yep.
Your detergent bottles.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got like detergent or fabric softener in your laundry room, there you go. Especially those huge ones, like those gigantic ones. Yeah, that's perfect. Honestly,
ones that fit my hands.
Yeah, like I mean, I started with just 2 gallons, like just 2 separate gallons, and that wasn't enough. And then, so I was like, okay, now I need 4 gallons, like 2 for each hand. Yeah. So I'm going to get like a wooden dowel and just like tape them on the end of it.
There you go. Whatever works. I think I told you the story about when I was at the store with my son and I was getting the, those 5-gallon jugs of water.
Oh yeah.
And I went to pick it up and put it on the thing, and I'm not thinking. I'm just like, oh, I'm tired. I want to get the kids home and whatever. I picked up both of them and just put them on the conveyor belt. And the guy in front of me is just staring at me. He goes, you make it look simple, but I would have hurt myself just now. and I couldn't help but have a little stroke of pride at that moment. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even notice it, but I'm not trying to brag, but
Right,
thank you.
exactly. Right. That is something that I'm trying to work on myself. Like people say stuff, and I'm just like, let's not get too crazy.
Yeah,
Like I'm still working on that whole like when I look in the mirror, like that guy isn't the same guy that it was 2 years ago. But when I look in the mirror, it's the same. It's the same dude staring
yeah.
back at me.
It's
That,
almost it's almost a form of like body dysmorphia, and I think me and
yeah.
you talked about that once. And a lot of
Hmm.
people go when I lost 100 pounds on Weight Watchers.
Hmm.
It was the same thing. Like people were saying, "Oh, you're too skinny. You're too skinny," and like to me, I was like, "Whatever. I'm 200 pounds," you know. And for if you see me in real life, like I'm a tall guy. 200 pounds means
Yeah.
you can see my rib cages through my stomach. Like that's 200
Yeah.
pounds for me,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
can't do that.
And
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever be that. But like, yeah, I understand what you're
it,
saying.
it took, I was driving myself nuts at that point because at that point I just wanted to see if I can maintain at the 200-pound level. And
Hmm.
I think somewhere in the back of my mind, it was like I knew I couldn't. It
Right.
was
Yeah.
just not, it's not how my body is, you know? And I looked at a picture of myself once and I was like, ew. Like that's the opposite of the extreme that I wanted, you know.
Right.
I was like,
Exactly.
I started over here on too hefty, and now I'm over here as toothpick, you know.
Then yeah. Yeah. Like, but people say stuff all the time, and I'm like, I don't see it. I'm just like, well, I'm just like, keep saying it. Maybe eventually I'll agree with you. Like,
You'll get to your point one day, but it's also good not to let it just swim right up to your head too.
right, right,
Then
yeah, because I'm never that kind of guy
yeah,
ever. Like, I've never been that kind of like full of myself kind of. I could never be, and that was a thing that was like anxiety thing for losing weight for me. Like, I'm going to lose all this weight, and I'm gonna become an arsehole. Like, I'm going to be one of those guys. I'm going to be one of those guys that like is constantly commenting on what people are eating.
yeah,
Like I really don't care. Like my spouse eats like cheeseburgers and full slices of cake, and I just sit there and I'm like, man, whatever.
yeah.
Like
You.
I'm like, it looks
I don't
great,
want it.
but
It's all
I
you.
don't want. It's all you. I don't care. Like I'm not gonna comment on it, but like that was a big fear that I was like, oh, I'm gonna start losing weight, and I'm gonna have social commentary on people's eating habits, but it
Yeah,
didn't happen, which is good. I tried to keep myself grounded because I was like, whatever makes people happy. If they want to
yeah,
do that, that's on them. Like I'm not about that life anymore.
yeah. And I want to kind of take an opportunity to switch it around a little bit because
So
um going back to talking about your mom from before,
yeah.
like
Hmm.
I thought it was an interesting thing that you brought that obviously that's one of the first stages of health coaching in
Hmm.
general. That's what I do with my clients too, is kind of get an idea of what their relationship with food is.
Hmm.
And I think it's kind of an interesting concept that you brought that up, that's obviously not the cause of everything that was going on in your life,
Hmm.
but from my memories of your mom and hanging out at your house and all that
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
it was very, like, family food, like, oriented.
Yeah.
You met like, we had
Hmm.
those potluck dinner nights, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody brought
Absolutely.
something, we hung out, we had a great time. So I'm kind of wondering, like, in the back of your mind somewhere, was that a portion of it? Like, you missed your
Oh
mom
yeah.
so much, but that
Yes.
feeling was tied to the food, like, that sort of
Absolutely. That emotion was tied to her. And so, like, having a good meal, having comfort food, it was comforting and it made me think of her. And so, like, it
and
was
this
kind of like
woman
a,
could cook, guys.
yeah,
Oh
and
my
it was like, it was kind of a crutch, you know what I mean? Like, and my partner is I would say adjacent to her, so he's very well versed in the kitchen,
mhm,
so like we would cook meals almost kind of like her, and like so it would make me feel good and feel better about the loss, and like so yeah, like it was definitely a comfort thing for me, that I needed to find a better coping mechanism.
yeah, that's a tough knot to untie, and that's a lot
Yeah.
of people's situations, look at what
Mm-hmm.
people are stuck to, things with your dad and things with my mom even, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, there's so many people that are tied to these intricate ideas of food, And it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. You know,
Yeah.
like they're living out the memories, but they're also trying to make those emotions real again. And they're tying it directly to the food source, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of it's really tricky not to untie, but you
Oh
know,
yeah, absolutely.
I think you've 100% done it. You if you when you put up those comparison pictures, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
we can't even call him the dude anymore. Like
Nah.
he's not the big Lebowski. He's like the little Lebowski right next to him.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and I mean I do that only because um I need to see it because mentally I still see that guy.
Mhm.
Like I said before, like mentally I still look in the mirror when I'm getting dressed in the morning and still see the guy who's like almost 600 pounds. In reality, I'm closer to like, 260 now. And like, I'm just like, I am not that guy anymore. And sometimes I need a reminder to do it. I hope, and I don't do it for my own selfish whatever. I do it. Hopefully somebody will see it and maybe they'll get inspired and
Yeah, yeah.
to try to start making healthy choices in their life.
Well, the beautiful thing about it is that you are sharing your journey, which is,
Mm.
you know, what me and Courtney are striving to do, like with anything that we do, with our own individual businesses, with this
Yeah.
podcast. Like, it's not about telling somebody what to do, and it's not
No.
about showing like,
Mm.
hey, we've made it here and we're this great or anything like that.
Right.
It's about, you know, sharing the love and bringing our knowledge and experience
Mm.
and journey to everybody else, to so that they know that they're not the only people that came from there, you
No.
know.
And I always say what works for me is not going to work for everybody.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it's so important how you said, like, that you will put, like, you now next to you 3 years ago, because
Hmm.
it is so true, and I know I do that from March to now. Like,
Hmm.
every now and then I'll look back and just, there's still a long way I wanna go,
Hmm.
but it's always so important to kinda remember where you came from, because like you said,
Yeah.
you're always gonna look in the mirror and see your old self.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's just because that's just our brains do that.
Oh yeah.
They
Absolutely.
research on it and stuff, and it's so important for everyone to just be like, to take a step back, whether it's mentally. I mean, you can do that comparison pictures with mental. Like, if you
Hmm.
look
Hmm.
at yourself of your picture from a time when anxiety was high or depression was high
Hmm.
to a time when you have it more under control, you'll see a difference in that yourself. Like, it's just so
Oh
important.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel weird. Like so I think I said something like a couple months ago that I basically am putting my foot forward to step outside of my comfort zone
Hmm.
because I would shy away from doing any of that kind of like selfies or like posting stuff or I would stop I would not do that because I felt
Same here,
uncomfortable
brother. Same here.
uncomfortable doing that. And I said, why? I mean, why am I uncomfortable doing this? I should be okay with it. I'm not, not doing it gratuitously, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not an everyday thing, or maybe it is an everyday thing, but it's not like a picture of me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's a something about my journey. It's something I'm trying to, like, something that I'm eating, and hopefully, like, you've messaged me a couple times. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, every once in a while I get somebody who messages me and like, what is that? Well, and then I'm like, oh well, let me tell you, it's like zoodles,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
super easy, and it's
They're
like
some of my
broth.
favorite. They're some of
Yeah,
my
Noodles are
favorite.
delicious.
Yeah.
yeah. Like I'd rather have those any day than noodles. They have more of like a noodle feeling to them than actual noodles. So like, I'd rather have those anytime.
One of the speakers that was at my school said it, and it really made me think about all kinds of different foods that people get obsessed over.
Hmm.
And I think it was something to the effect of like, remember what a McDonald's cheeseburger tastes like. Now remember the flavor, right? So you really can't when you think about it, right?
I don't remember. That's been so long since I've had any of that.
But remember, like, chicken you made, you
Yeah.
seasoned, and you cooked it to how you wanted it, you know what I mean?
Right.
You
Hmm.
remember that flavor,
Oh yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I think it's the same way about carbs. When you literally sit there and taste a piece of bread. What are you tasting? You know, it's just a bland, like potatoy,
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
into it.
It's
Like it's meant to be put with something else.
right, exactly.
So like filling your palate with other flavors and different dynamics of food is definitely something that can help you easily break out of that. You know, it's more so
Oh,
of like a mental attachment with it. But I just think it's so amazing with stuff like who people who are like, "Oh my god, I miss having, you know, I haven't had a a Burger King cheeseburger in a while." Like to me, like I used to like fast food like as a teenager, but like I was always like it doesn't really, you know, then I moved down here and I
mhm.
had Chick-fil-A for the first time. And to me that's like the better version of the fast food that you could have when
Mhm.
I had it at the time. And
Right.
I was like, you know, it tastes different. Like the chicken doesn't taste bland like all the other chicken does. You know, it
Mhm.
doesn't taste the same way. But even that faded out after a while. And now, like, you know, like Courtney will still crave like Taco Bell and stuff like that. And I was like,
Mhm.
but I remember eating it, but I don't remember the experience or the flavor. So to me, I'm not really missing out on anything.
No,
You know?
like yeah, I mean, my whole house eats Taco Bell, and
Yeah.
like both my roommates and my partner eat it, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have no want to. It smells good, but I'm just like, man, it's probably not gonna be. It's all empty calories, and like I don't need that. Like, I mean, I have a burger every once in a while. We have a bunch of like local burger places around here that are really good,
Mm,
and they are awesome. At You can go and literally get it anywhere, any way you want it. Like they'll, do it without a bun or whatever. But
mhm,
like every once in a while, like yeah, I definitely want a burger. Like I'll get a craving for like red meat, and I was like, I want a burger, and so there's a burger joint. We'll go. It's like down the road, and I'll get a burger. And they're like fresh ground burgers, like right
right.
there they make them, and like they're like quarter-pound burgers, and like
And you
that's
could
great.
taste that. You could
You can
taste it.
taste it, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like they grind their own meat and like all that stuff, but like if I have to, I'll go to like Hardee's or something like
Mm.
that, or like Five Guys, or I mean, that's about the only fast food stuff I'll do.
I think every once in a while, like people do need it too. You know, like
Yes, yeah, hmm
yeah, you know,
or
if not for anything else, it's just for a reminder. Like if you have that experience and you go to, you know, Hardee's or Taco Bell or
mhm,
Chick-fil-A or whatever, and you're like, and you eat it, and you're like, you know, I'm not really fulfilled by that. Like
right,
it didn't taste like I expected it to. I think that's just like your body's way of getting itself over a craving. You know,
right,
and you're like, oh, I, you know, instead I want this, or I want to go home and make this, or I want this, I can make this better. You know.
right, exactly. We do a lot of cooking at home.
Yeah.
Like I think for tonight we're cooking. I don't know. It's technically everybody's Sunday, even
Mhm.
though it's even though it's Tuesday. So like,
Well, technically, it could be considered my Sunday too, because I only work Saturdays and Sundays. But this week I
mhm,
picked up an extra shift, so
mhm.
usually, you know, I'm like this would be a Sunday-ish situation for me.
Yeah, I'm like today, like Pin came upstairs and was like, "Hey, do you want to get something to eat?" I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm generally not hungry in the morning, but today I didn't. Apparently, I probably just didn't get enough calories the night
Hmm.
before." And I was like, "You know what? I actually am. I could actually go for a meal, which is very strange for me because I generally don't eat till about 2." And he's like, "Okay, I'll go order you something." And
Hmm.
there's this place in town that does. It's called One World, and it has a huge menu for like vegan and like keto and like regular stuff. And he's like,
Sort
"I
of reminds
ordered
me
you."
of the Bob Marley song, "One Love."
Uh, it basically is like that because the food there is amazing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he brought back some eggs and stuff like that. And to me, that's fast food. Like
Hmm.
going and ordering and picking something up to me is like fast food. But
Yeah. Yeah.
he went to McDonald's last night and got like a double quarter pounder or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like I could not. No.
Yeah, and I think once you get used to it and you start like feeling and seeing the progress, it just becomes so much easier to overcome those instances of like, oh my god, I could really go for this right now. The Homer Simpson drool, you know?
Yeah, like I have those instances where I'm just like, oh man, that sounds so good. But then like my higher brain is just like, hey, dude, Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, that
Is it
sounds
really
great.
worth it?
Right. That sounds really good, but do you need it? And I'm just like, nah, I don't. I don't
Yep.
need that.
Yeah, it's very true, man.
So, I mean, that's how I do it most of the time.
So
People are like, you don't do cheat days or anything like that? I go, nah, I don't.
with certain motivations, there are no cheat days.
There are no cheat days. Yeah.
Certain times, and I think you came to that realization that, especially when the doctor's telling you, that you will die.
Yeah,
I
it was
think that's
a
quite
certainty.
solid realization that, like, no, shit needs to change right now.
Yeah, like he was like, right now, like
Yep.
not tomorrow, not the next day. It needs to change right now. Like you're gonna go home and you're gonna empty your cabinets out of all the crap that you've been shoveling in you for the last 10 plus years.
What did you feel like in that moment where he told you that? Just
Oh,
boom.
I knew it.
Hmm.
I knew it, but it was one of those like I needed to hear him say it kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I knew I was big, but then I stepped on that scale and it was like, oh, that's a realization.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That makes it hit home a little harder when you get that.
yeah. When you're seeing hard numbers and you're
Hmm.
like, oh, you can't escape that. Can't escape those numbers. Like that's a medical grade scale. They ain't gonna lie. Like
It's not lying to me.
it
They're not
is
tricking
not.
me.
They're not like. There's nobody's got like their foot on it while I'm like,
There's one where you
like
drop a piece of paper on it and it picked up 0.2 ounces.
choices. Yeah, exactly. No, it's basically it's those are real numbers. I think though I knew things were going right the first time I weighed myself. So
Hmm.
for like the first year of everything, I said no scales. No scales. I just went by how my clothes fit
That's very interesting. That's
me.
that's a good point too.
I didn't go. I didn't because I would obsess about the number.
Hmm.
I would say
Hmm.
if I bought a scale and put it in the house, I'd be checking it every day and get depression from like if I gained weight because it's gonna happen. You're gonna gain a couple pounds or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's gonna fluctuate.
and a lot of people do like get into that mindset
Yeah.
and they don't account for like the daily flux that happens or like the
Yeah.
balance flux, for example, or and a lot of people take that to heart. They take it really hard.
Yeah, you can't. So I
Yeah.
was like, no, no, no weighing myself. And so after about a year, I finally got a gym membership, mainly because I just wanted to use their scale. I didn't care about anything else. I mean, it was nice, but I was like, oh, they're gonna have a really good scale in there that I'm gonna be able to use, and I'll use that. And so I started working out at night with my roommate, and um, so the first time I went and I checked the scale, and it was like I forgot it was like a 293 or something like that.
Hmm.
And I had like lost over 100, oh, well over 100 pounds.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh shit.
And that's when you knew.
That's what
It's
I
a
knew.
moment.
That's
Yeah.
a moment. Like it
Yeah.
was like an almost tears moment. Like, holy cow. Like I can't believe this. Like this is actually working.
Yeah.
And I just like from then on, it was just like I just dropped it into fifth gear, and was like, I'm out. Let's
Yep.
just keep on going.
Running. We're
I think
doing this.
I think the last time I weighed myself, I was at 270, 265, something like that. Yeah, I haven't weighed myself in like a few months because gyms haven't been open. So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome though that you got on that scale after a year and we're just like, nope, keep going. Because I think there's different people. There's
yeah,
a group of people who will be like, all right, cool. Like that's lower than I thought. Like I'm good. I'll just, figure it out. And then there's
mhm.
people like you who are like, no, I'm gonna keep going. Like I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I have a goal weight in mind, but I mean, after that, it's a maintaining. It's a toning, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just lose the weight, get to like this goal, large air quotes, and then like that'll be it. Show's
Yeah.
over. No, nah.
I'm done, guys.
I'm
Peace
done,
out.
guys. See you later. I'm finished now. You know, but like, no, it's a life thing. I gotta after losing. I think I got like 30 more pounds or 20 more pounds. I gotta lose to the number that's in my head.
So you're aiming for like the 230, 240 range?
I want 50 250. I think is going to be where I want to sit, and then, but I gained like I think I gained like 5 pounds because I gained a lot of muscle. Like a lot of the fat turned to muscle, especially in my legs from all the running I do. And
I was going to ask if that was one of your goals, is like not just to lose weight, but to gain.
oh yeah, yeah,
Where
yep,
where's your like body image goal at?
healthy.
Yeah,
That's a good
yeah,
goal.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
most people are like, oh, I want 6-pack abs, and like,
no, that is never gonna happen. Nope.
it takes a lot of dedication to build
Yeah,
6-pack abs. Let me tell
that
you.
is not me. I'll never be that.
Mhm.
I'm getting way too old for that kind of crap. Like if I can achieve like a dad bod, I'd be okay. Like
Hey, dad bods are in, all right?
right,
Like,
it's fine. Like if I can get to that stage, and then I'll be okay. Like I guess I, I don't find myself attractive, so like that whatever. But like if I can get to a place where I feel comfortable with myself and my own skin, that's where I want to be. Like if I look in the mirror and I'm just like, I want to get to a point where I don't do that.
Yeah,
Like where I
yeah.
look at
so if
where
anybody listening doesn't take anything away from this other than these 2 points that you have made, it's a lifestyle change. You can't do
yes,
like the quick fixes. It's
no,
a lifestyle change, and be comfortable with yourself.
Yep.
When
yes,
you're
it's
at
so
like, because I
comfortable.
say that all the time.
Hmm.
When I'm comfortable with myself, that's when I'm good.
Right, yeah, that's basically what I want to get to is where I am comfortable with myself. I don't care about like, like the perfect beach body or like rippling abs shining in
Hmm.
the sun. Like, like I don't care about like buns of steel or any of that stuff. Like it's not for me. Like, hey, that's there are people that are like that.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
power to them.
Yeah,
That's
kudos.
great. Kudos, but
They're
like
called Instagram models.
yeah, I'll never be that. And I know that I'm truthful with myself, but I know I can get to a point where I'll be healthy and I will be comfortable with the person that's staring back at me
Mhm.
in the mirror.
So do you want like muscle build, or do you just want some muscle? Like, where are
Yeah,
you
some maybe like some tone, some definition, maybe.
at? Mhm.
It's things that are not all. I mean, I know I'm gonna eventually have to get like I'm gonna have to get a procedure done to
Mhm.
get rid of all like the excess skin and stuff taken away from my like midsection. But like
And that's a lot of those
that's
situations, whether you lose it
yeah,
organically or whether you get like the surgeries done, or
it's gonna
not
it's
many
the
people
thing.
realize that that's also like a secondary surgery that generally follows those situations.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I've probably got a good 15 pounds of like extra skin
Mhm.
that
So there's your
if
goal weight right there.
that's my goal right now. I'll get down to 250 and get the surgery and then be at like 230.
Just tell him. You remember the Ren and Stimpy episode where Stimpy got where Ren got the pec surgery done?
Yes.
Just tell the doctor, just implant it here.
Can you just tuck it in
Yeah,
here, maybe, and like back here,
yeah.
like
I want glued to
please.
steel.
Who's the steal? Like, it doesn't matter how many hundreds of squats I do. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So yeah, I mean, as long as I'd like to get toned at least. I'm not never gonna have huge muscles, and I don't want to.
I was gonna say,
But
if that stuff's not your goal, it doesn't
it's
matter
really
either way.
not. I mean, I'd like to
It,
have a
like
little definition. You know what I mean? But that's that's about it. So I'm really just I'd like to get to my weight that I have in my brain, and then be comfortable with myself
right.
and be comfortable where I'm at and work from there. And it'll be little things like I'm not going to stop automatically. I'm not going to get to 250 and be like, well, that's the end game. I'm
Yeah,
going to
I'm
stop.
done.
Mic drop.
Yeah,
My job. I'm going to stop running every day. No, I'm still going to do it every day or because I do like 4 days on, 3 days off.
mhm.
So I do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't. I let my body
Heal up and rest.
heal up and
Yeah,
rest because it
that's
needs
good
that.
though.
That's that. And so I didn't go to like a trainer. I didn't do any of that. So I just did my research. I read and watched tons and tons and tons and tons. For a long time, my YouTube was just like nothing but like health people and like doctors, and just I read articles insanely, all the articles I can get, so I can get both sides of the gun on everything, because I didn't want it just from one thing. I wanted it from this. I wanted everything.
Yeah, you don't want to just settle on the first thing you hear, which a lot of people were doing. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
A lot of people were doing
cool.
it when Facebook first came out. Like, oh, it's posted, so it must be true, you know.
Oh yeah,
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're an Office fan, but like Michael Scott's like, oh, Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Anybody can post on there, so you know you're getting the right
exactly.
information.
Anybody
and it's like,
can write anything.
So
you know you're getting
must be true. Must be true. So yeah, no. And then I read every label. I go grocery shopping. Like my partner hates it because it takes forever, because I literally read everything.
That's one big step that
if it's not a veggie, I read everything, every label, see how many carbs are in everything and added sugars, and I'm a little crazy on that aspect. But then, I mean, I have times like I treat myself. I have like keto ice cream that's made with sugar alcohols, and like, what I mean, but I don't overdo it. I can moderation now. I have it to where it's not an everyday thing. It's not even an every week thing. You know what I mean? Like,
and you have to give yourself those times.
Yeah,
anybody would go ballistic and crazy if they just completely cut everything off for the rest of their life.
Yeah, like I eat enough peanut butter to probably kill a horse. Like, because that's my one treat, like peanut butter.
Mr. Ed would be very upset with you right now.
yeah, he would be. But like that, I go through a giant jar of peanut butter every month probably, because that's if I haven't had enough calories in the day, I'm just like, well, I'm peanut butter. Like,
it's a good lean source of fat, and it's oils and stuff that your body needs. So it's
pretty much.
Because I go through a lot of it too, just on my own. The stuff that I eat, I used a lot of peanut butter, bananas, stuff like that. So,
yeah.
Peanut butter and banana.
Hey, yeah, all the time.
I wish I haven't had a banana so long.
Sorry.
It's all right. I live vicariously through everybody else.
just chew it slower. Wait, peel
it. No. Oh God! I just need to. Can I just smell it?
My sister does that with
blow the scent in my direction. All right, I'm good.
No, my sister does that, and I thought because she's gluten free, and so every now and then she'll be like, "Can I just smell that?"
It?
And I'm like, "Does that really work?"
Yeah, it does.
And she said it does. She'll smell it, and she's like, "Okay,
cool. I'm good. Exactly." And I don't make my partner is very understanding, and he does stuff for me. Like, he will cook fried chicken strips for everybody else, and then he'll make grilled chicken strips for me. So he's on board. He will do things for me that are keto. Like the other day, he made Salisbury steak, but instead of using breadcrumbs, he made it with pork rinds. Nobody knew the difference.
Yeah,
I knew that he put it in there. Nobody else did.
That's how we slipped up past your father. Sorry, Mr. Kenny, if you ever listen.
He's not listening to
this. And now he knows. He'll be looking for it.
It's true though, because we do we've done it so many times. I really hope he's not listening. He'll never address this again. But
he doesn't fully trust this though, because sometimes he'll be like, "Is this organic?" Give us those eyes of have you betrayed me?
Him with is that when we do Taco Tuesday, sometimes we will do Greek yogurt instead of sour cream, and we trick him by putting it in a bowl, and we're like, "Oh, it was just the end of it." So
it's just good. It's a little water. It's fine.
Has no idea. I really hope he's not listening, because then that trick's out the window.
That's hilarious.
More than I would like to admit, we've done that.
That's amazing. But yeah, he's and I already told him, I was like, I don't want you to do what I'm doing. I want everybody to keep eating the way they want to. I don't care. You don't have to do what I'm doing. But he's supportive, and which is nice. For my birthday, he made an entire keto chocolate cake for me out of almond flour and
that's awesome.
Stevia frosting, all that stuff. So
and stevia is not counted as an artificial sweetener, which a lot of people think it is. It is not
made from plants.
Yes.
It's made from plants.
And going back to reading the label, like you were talking about, an interesting thing that I learned in my schooling that not a lot of people know: anything on the label that ends in OSE, dextrose, anything like that, is a sweet. It's a sugar.
Yeah.
It's not just what says sugar on the nutrition label. Anything that ends in OSE is another sugar.
Yep.
And I, like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, whoa. Like, I went through my whole cabinet and I was like, cereals have 3 or 4 different types of sugar in it.
Yep.
And it was a part of it.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a part of a unit that talks about like how these food scientists are here to, like, their job is to make the food so you crave it. And that and it's not, it doesn't matter the nutritional content, but they put all these sugars because our bodies are hardwired to
yeah, absolutely.
And I was just blown away by just that one fact. I was like, so a diabetic might be eating 10 times more sugar than they think they are, you know? Like, you just it's crazy. It's important to read the labels, though.
Yeah, and I was
looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like trying to figure out what you're looking for too on a label is another thing, which I had to learn about as well. Is like, it's not just looking at like how much protein, how many carbs, how many natural sugars. Like I read like all the additive stuff that's in it. Like what is in this? If it
you
has
have to read that, like the really small stuff they don't want you to read.
Like generally, if it has more than 5 ingredients, I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, and that's a really good.
I'm like,
if it has more than 5 ingredients and stuff you can't pronounce, it's generally not good for you.
Yeah, like if it's not like I don't even do corn. Nope.
But the only thing I would say that's an alternate to that point is like I use post-workout like superfood supplements.
Yeah, like
it's all organic, but it's meant to have 50 different ingredients.
It's meant to have stuff.
Yeah.
But if you go get like I don't know, like some kind of dip or something like that, and you're like, it's like cream cheese and yada yada yada, and then maltodextrin. I'm just like, no, I'm done. Bye. Like, I gotta break out the phone and Google this. I don't want it. Like,
and you might be surprised in reading labels too. Like when I was on Weight Watchers and looking for like low fat stuff or whatever that was actually like not having a bunch of extra flavored junk in it.
Right.
I don't remember if it was Breyers, but that seems to be the brand that sticks out in my head. But one brand in particular had milk, cream, sugar. That was it.
Yep.
And I was like, this is probably the best out of the whole 150 selection that we have to pick from,
Yeah, I mean, I do this one ice cream. It's called Rebel, and it is a keto ice cream, and it's like heavy cream, flavoring, sugar alcohols, done. And I'm like, okay, cool.
It's mine.
Or like, this is one that I really love, and it's like chocolate peanut butter, and like the chocolate is like dark chocolate, so it's like just cocoa, which I mean has a little bit of sugar in it, but like not like what most people think chocolate, and then peanut butter, and then sugar alcohols and heavy cream.
Did you know that it's not pronounced cocoa?
What is it pronounced?
Cacao.
Really?
I've never known that in my life until I forgot. I was watching something and they said cacao, and I was like, what the hell is cacao? And like I looked it up, and that's the actual way to pronounce it. I was like, oh, okay.
The more you know.
I'm gonna lie at this point. Like,
I mean, thanks for lying to me for my entire life. Oh,
the next time you're telling someone the ingredients, and you can now say it the right way, and they'll think you're crazy.
To be like, all right, did you have like are you okay? Like, did you have a brain fart? No, that's the way you say it.
No strokes involved, folks.
No strokes involved. No.
Every time every one of our listeners goes into like a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts for a hot cocoa,
Can I get a hot cacao?
You need
They're
to
like, what?
You need to correct the barista when he's like, James, hot cocoa, it's cacao.
Exactly. Oh God, baristas hate us enough, anyways. I'm actually probably they love me because I am the easiest order in the entire world.
So let's go into that avenue, because that's one thing that I did want to bring up before you what your order is.
Okay.
You have, like, I feel like how beer and liquor snobs and stuff like that have their super taste for things, and like, this has a little bit too much hops and this has this.
Yeah.
I feel like that is you with coffee.
Yes. Because for a long time I treated coffee like just terribly, putting tons of sugar and cream and I would drink like Folgers and like, chock full of nuts and all that stuff. So the coffee didn't really matter to me. But when I started this, I stopped drinking sugar at all. I don't put sugar in my coffee whatsoever.
Yeah, I stopped that as well. That was from my Weight Watchers days. Like, you don't realize how much you're putting in there that you're just drinking away.
And so my dietitian was like, well, have you tried just drinking coffee black? And I was like, are you trying to kill me? She's like, she's like, what she recommended she's like, well, get a good roast.
Yeah.
Don't buy a Folgers. Don't buy like a chock full of nuts or any of that like stuff that you can just go get off the shelf at a grocery store. Mm-hmm. She's like, get a good roast from a local place. Order it online. Get something, because it's going to make a difference in your life comparative to just your normal everyday stuff. So I did that, and I got some like really good, like Arabica, and I started with Starbucks because I was like, well, they got to be great. They're the experts. They know coffee. Yeah. So I went and got a dark roast, and it was really good, and I liked it. But after a few years of like experimenting and exploring coffee, the different blends. There's so many different blends. It's just like wine, or just like Scotch, or like beer. There are different blends of the coffees and Arabicas and all this kind of stuff that you can get. I've settled on one particular company that does a really good job. They're from North Carolina, I think somewhere in the south. I don't have my phone right now. I could check, but they do a really, really good job. And so I don't have a coffee maker anymore.
Is it the Death Wish brand?
Death Wish is good. I will say that. If you're looking to literally raise the dead, Death Wish coffee is where it's going, because it has like 4 times or 5 times the caffeine content of a normal 8-ounce cup of coffee. I think it's like 140 milligrams of caffeine per 8-ounce cup.
So for the average person, if you needed to become the Flash, buy some Death Wish.
Yeah, like if you have an 8-ounce cup of Death Wish coffee, you will be jittering if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
It is one of those coffees where it's just like,
it's like medical grade coffee.
Yeah, pretty much. You're going to clean your entire house.
Yeah.
With one cup of coffee. And here's the thing. And the funny thing is like, you think about it and you think, oh, it's going to be disgusting. It's going to be bitter. It actually tastes amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's actually what most people think of coffee is that, oh, it's going to be like a dark roast and it's going to be really bitter. Actually, the darker roast coffee you get, the less caffeine it is. Mm-hmm. The lighter the roast you get is the more caffeine, because when you roast a bean longer, you are essentially roasting out all the caffeine.
It's the same thing as like boiling vegetables. Like the longer it boils, the more nutrients are gone from it.
Right. So Death Wish does it so they have a specific roasting method that they have like the lightest roast you can possibly get while preserving all the flavor. And that's what gives them such a high caffeine content. Mm-hmm. Now, that's great. I mean, I don't have any in the cabinet at the moment, but I am more definitely of I want flavor. I want a flavor. I want to taste my coffee.
That's
I
Courtney.
want to. I want to taste my coffee. Now, I like flavored coffees, whatever seasonal flavored coffees. I'm basic, so yes, I like pumpkin spice anything.
I was gonna say
So
you have your Ugg boots ready, right?
yeah, no. I like pumpkin spice flavored anything, just like any person. But I like a good light to medium roast and Arabica or maybe I don't have any of the ones downstairs, but I get from this one, they're like a geek centric coffee company called Found Familiar. And they really, some of their coffee is insane. It's so good. I just had one and it had flavors of like almond and plum in it. And when they put that on when they put it on the label and you're like, nah, it's not going to taste like that. And you brew it and you smell it and you're like, I can't believe this.
You get the Keanu effect.
Yeah. Whoa. And you take a sip and you're like, this is insane. Like, it really tastes like what what they're saying it does. And after a while, you're like, I can't go back to anything else. I can't go back to
your buds have been elevated and now there's no return.
You can't. And I mean my coffee maker broke. Like I had a regular drip like Black & Decker coffee maker. And it broke, and I was like, "Oh no, coffee is gone!
My life,
my life, this is finished."
Darth Vader screaming at the end of the movie.
No, yeah, exactly. And so I discovered French pressing, and honestly, it's probably the best way to go. So I grind my own beans in the morning, every day. A couple.
So you keep them like whole bean until that very morning.
That very morning, and I grind my own bean in the morning, and I put it in there. I just got a new electric kettle, and I mean, it takes a little bit to figure it out, to get like the water temperature, and like there's like a method to doing it, and like you got to like steep it for 4 minutes, but it takes less than you think. Like, it sounds like it's very complicated, but not really.
Yeah, no, I used to use a French press at one point with just regular coffee beans. Though.
With regular, yeah, exactly. And you don't notice the quality of the coffee that you're drinking that when you're doing this. So now, like, no, like in a pinch, sure, like I'll use whatever, but
whatever you got to survive with,
whatever I got to survive with. If I go to like a diner or something, and I know it's like diner coffee.
Now the real question is, do you use a wooden coffee bean grinder?
No, I do not. I use a Mr. Coffee.
Yeah. Is there any difference that you know about?
No,
I know a friend who's obsessed with using a wood coffee grinder.
No, I think it's just it comes down to preference, I guess.
Yeah.
I can just do more in an electric grinder.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's one less step.
Whatever makes your life less stressful before you have a cup of coffee.
Or coffee, exactly. And I mean, besides that, I like it hot like the surface of the sun and dark like the dark side. That's about it. Like awesome. It needs to be piping hot and it needs to be dark, and that's it. I am literally the barista's like dream. I come in.
What's your order?
My order: black coffee. on a really tough day, I'll get I think it's called a red eye, and that's a black cup of coffee with 2 shots of espresso.
Nice.
And that's it. I don't get it too complicated. And I go in and I order it, and they look at me and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's all I want. And they're like,
wants just that.
Nobody just wants a cup of coffee, and I'm just like, yep, just a cup of coffee. They're like, okay. I think I like make their day every time I do that. They're like, "Oh my god, I just had my easiest customer."
Tell that story for weeks.
For weeks, there's this guy. He came in. He ordered just coffee. Just coffee.
It's the same guy.
So it's just coffee. Yeah, just coffee. Wow.
Go like 5 pumps of this with 2 of this.
No. I'm like they've etched me on a wall somewhere, like telling stories of the guy.
The baristas love you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just know that, if he doesn't get his coffee, he's force choking somebody.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not a pretty sight if I don't run out of coffee.
Yeah.
I make it a point not to run out of coffee.
Yeah.
That is not a. There's only been one time there's been a coffee mistake that I said, hey, I talked to my roommate. I was like, hey, can you just pick some coffee up for me from the store? He's like, yeah, no problem. I can do that for you. He comes home and he takes it out of the bag, puts it on the counter, and I look at him and I look at the bag and I look at him and I go, you see the word that's on that bag? He goes, what? It says decaf.
In other words,
I threw the coffee at him. I was like, get this out of my house.
How dare you disrespect my kind.
I was like, I still have it in my cabinet. Like, maybe there will be somebody who will come over and they will want decaf coffee, which I don't understand the point, but whatever.
I've ever had decaf is when I'm pregnant.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's certain times that you get.
Yeah.
But still, but like,
yeah.
I think
when you drank it too, you were even like, but I just know and I can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some caffeine in it, but if that's the fact, then just have a regular cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's eventually I was like, all right, I'll just get a small coffee instead of a medium.
Medium, or like a large, like
Yeah. So how much coffee does it take to do your show? I wanted to get a little time to talk about that because I stumbled over a little episode that was actually one of my favorites that I've listened to from you guys so far.
Okay.
So Chris has a show. Order the Midnight Rollers.
Yep, right? That's it.
And it was one of your most recent episodes.
Absolutely
useless facts no one needs to know.
Well, we did that because we knew a lot of people were going to be standing online to go vote, and I was like, they're gonna need something, some kind of entertainment to like listen to.
That episode was absolutely hysterical. I loved it. That was great.
Every once in a while, we'll stray from like the like serious stuff and kind of give a like just, it's kind of funny, it's kind of lighthearted, stuff that nobody needs to know, or just whatever.
I think one of my favorites that I found through the whole episode was the Pinocchio paradox.
Oh yeah. Believe me, I had no idea about that either. When I read it, I was like, what?
It's gonna blow your mind. Are you ready? The Pinocchio paradox is, if Pinocchio says, "My nose will grow now," it would cause a paradox. Thinking about if Pinocchio's nose would have to grow to make his statement not a lie, but then it can't grow, otherwise the statement wouldn't be a lie.
So if he says it, it causes a paradox.
Yep.
Mind blown.
And in my head, I was like, there are scientists that are using tax money to figure out if fictional characters are causing paradoxes.
Maybe he did it in like a cut of the movie, and like that's what caused 2020. Like,
oh God, I blame Walt Disney.
Stuck in a Disney Pinocchio paradox year,
So yeah, I mean, we do one a week. We didn't have one this week because my co-host had something personal come up and we couldn't do it. But yeah, we do it. We do one every Tuesday, just about for the last almost 40. We have almost 40 episodes.
I think so. Yeah, Spotify doesn't get a count, but I can scroll for quite a while.
Yeah, I think we have almost 40 episodes at this point, I think. So
maybe it did come up.
maybe, but we're on just about everywhere podcasts can be listened to. So
Yeah.
Spotify,
So
iTunes, Google.
so who came up with the idea for it?
We both did. We kind of both wanted to do a podcast for a while. We could both talk kind of at nauseum about anything,
Mhm.
but our interests lie in the nerdy, and we love paranormal stuff, and we love conspiracies and cryptids and literature and music and movies, and we found that we were having conversations just between the two of us on a daily basis that sounded like a podcast.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, why don't we just record this? Because there's got to be other people that want to listen to it
And see where it goes.
and see where it goes. And so I know we're almost 40 episodes in, and it still is a pleasurable thing. We're
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
finding things to talk about, and people, and apparently, I mean, people enjoy our banter and our rambling.
Yeah.
It definitely gets a little rambly sometimes.
You could tell that you guys definitely have like a chemistry when it's talking about this stuff. And like
Yeah.
I listened to a bunch of like the Magic the Gathering
Mhm.
episodes and stuff like that. And just the random stuff that you guys go off on, you guys are working off each other really well.
Right.
So I think you guys have a good chemistry on the show. I think it's fun.
It took us a little bit to find our voice, like
Mhm.
to find that,
Yeah.
because we were getting in our heads a little bit because there are microphones in front of us, and
Yeah.
now this stuff is going to be out there on the internet, and the internet's forever, and like all
Mhm.
that stuff. So we got like real in our heads about like how we're supposed to sound, and like trying to be all like professional, and we were like, why?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're having, but sometimes, I mean, we still have a thing about like doing things a certain way. I'm a little more free flow than he is. He's kind of more structured, more kind of guy than I am. So it's a nice balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is we had to find a balance of being structured whilst also kind of being free flow. And I think we've kind of hit our stride now, where we have that. It feels natural. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel forced.
Yeah, and you could tell with that in the show. Like you hear some of the more recent episodes, and it sounds like you guys have been doing this forever.
Which is
Both
nice. I
of
guess
our,
that's where
like this would be technically our 8th episode, I believe.
that's
Uh,
pretty good. That's a good clip
yeah.
of time. That's a good amount of episodes to like really get in the bag. We did 10. We recorded 10 like right in a row. Like
Hmm.
one, two, like did 10, got them in the bag and released them all at the same time. We're
Okay.
like we wanted to have content out right at the get go.
Right.
And then we were
Right.
like, okay, so now, and then it was like, well, now we need to set a schedule. Like, what are we like? What are we going to do it every
Hmm.
week? And sometimes we record it mostly on Monday nights, release it on Tuesday morning.
Hmm.
Sometimes things get busy, so we'll do it all at the same time. We'll record on Tuesday morning, take an hour, and edit, and then put it straight up. But
Yeah.
usually it's
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday. Usually is where we try to do it.
Nice. Well, it sounds like a good time. I mean, from I haven't heard them all, obviously, but from the episodes that I've heard, you guys.
There's a lot now, which is strange to say.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on our way to working towards it. It's and I
you,
know what
you,
you mean with like finding your stride and getting those.
yeah.
Even not many people realize it, but there's like a technique to the microphone that like,
Yeah,
you're talking
definitely.
and how to move and where to put your mouth and all this other
Yep.
stuff. And
Breath control and all that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff. Projecting how you sit and like your diet. Yeah, it's all that stuff.
yeah,
It's a learning curve,
yeah.
honestly.
So
Yeah.
I think we've hit it pretty well. Like this is
Yeah.
our second interview for
Mhm.
having a guest on the show, and
I'm hoping it went well.
yeah. So you're the official first pick on my side.
All right. That's cool. I feel honored.
Yeah. Well, you're an inspirational guy from everything that you've been posting, and when you took a break from Facebook a while back, I was kind of
Yeah.
like, oh man,
Yeah.
but I understand exactly why. Like it's
Right.
sometimes that's a necessary jump to do that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I recently just got rid of it entirely.
Yeah.
So like I don't have Facebook. I have Facebook Messenger, but like I got rid of Facebook entirely. I think Instagram is like the closest thing I have to Facebook
Yeah.
now. So
Well, now that they own them, that's, you know.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So I think we're at a point in the show where you know, we have a little segment that me and Courtney like to do,
Okay.
and we you know, make it a staple in all of our episodes where we have what we call lightning rounds, and I have
Okay.
a purely professional sound effect that I have for it. But so, so what we do is me and Courtney will ask questions to
Okay.
both of the opposite people, and then you know, or if you want to start, like it's your opportunity to ask us questions, and usually we do about 2 questions per turn, if you want to put it that way.
Okay.
So and what these questions are meant to do, it's just stuff that we think of that's, you know, you just meant to answer it just on the spot as best you can, you know. It's no pressure, nothing, you know, hopefully nothing crazy, but it's meant to like get, you know, a deep. So yeah, however we want to do this lightning round. I know I have a question. If nobody else does, we can just get her going. All right. That's my lightning sound. So I'll ask this in order. Chris, what's your final? Not I don't want to say final end game, but what's your overall goal when it comes to everything that you've been doing lately? Like your fitness, your diet, like your Instagram accounts, your podcasts. Where do you hope to end up, say, 2 years from now?
I mean, I have a lot of like heroes that I don't want to say, I guess I would say idolize, I guess, but I'd like to to be doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'd like to do, is to get to a point where I enjoy my job, like, and that I'm not just doing a job to make money to pay bills, that I'm doing something that where I'm mentally, physically healthy, and I am all like
Like
occupationally
you're
healthy.
passionate about it.
Like
Like
I'm
yeah.
doing, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. Like it's not just a passion project, but it's also paying my bills. Because you know they say if you love what you do, it's not really work. So I'd love to get to that point, and I think we're right on track for that. We're still kind of in the beginning,
Do you mean
but I
with
think
with the podcast or with?
yeah, I think with everything we're doing, because we also have a website. We also, you know, like we write articles and we review things, and we're gonna have we had a YouTube channel for a while that's gonna come back. Like, you know, we're gonna be creating a lot of content, and we are right now. Um, but I'd like to if I mean I'd like to get to the point where some of the people that I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy following or who are doing these things professionally, I'd like to be there. I like to be at that point, and maybe I know and it sounds so weird to me when I say these kinds of things, but like it would be nice to get to a point where somebody else out there is like, man, I'd really like to
Mm-hmm.
be where they are, and that
Mm-hmm.
starts their journey into doing that kind of thing. Or like, oh, I heard he did this and he lost 300 pounds. Like, if he could do it, he's a nobody,
Right.
then I can do it. Like, that's because that's where I was at. I was like, well, if he can
Right.
do it, then I can do it. And then I did it. So, like, if I can inspire one person to get off their ass, then that's really the
And stop
plan.
buying crap coffee.
That's the
Well,
win.
I mean, you know, there's some things you can't stop.
One step at a time, Josh.
One step at a time.
So, what would your answer be?
Uh,
Courtney. She thinks it's weird when I call her Courtney instead of Babe.
you never call me Courtney. My boss called me Courtney. Like nobody calls me Courtney. I get Court. Um, kind of the same thing. Just be like doing what I love and
Mhm.
not feeling like I'm working, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's kind of the same thing, you know, I'm doing a lot right now that I genuinely love to do. And it's just fine tuning that to make it substantial to last, and not just be like, okay, well, right now I'm doing what I love, but let's see what happens in 2 years. Like, I want to keep that train going.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
absolutely agree with that. I don't want it. I don't want it to be like, oh, cool, like it's good now, and then like I want it to last,
Yeah,
and
like
I want it to evolve.
taking yeah, exactly, taking what's going on now and having it change each season of my life, kind of.
So that's awesome answers. I agree with you guys 100%. Like I think that's everybody's end goal, whether people realize it or not. Like even the people who are like, "Oh, I just work to pay bills and, that's what we're meant to
I
do."
don't want to do that. Like I've been
Yeah.
doing that I've been doing that since I was 14.
Well,
I'm a,
I have a theory that even the people who do claim that that's what they want, I don't think it's what they really want. It's taking the path of least resistance at that point.
right.
So I
Yeah.
agree with you guys 100%. Now I'm going to follow up and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to follow up with my second question for the both of you. Okay.
Okay.
So, given the answer that you guys both just gave, so do you see that quote unquote end goal changing? Like, do you see like losing an interest in doing the podcast or maybe just growing it into something else? Or do you see it being that? Or, you know what I mean? Like maybe instead of like aspiring to inspire somebody, you become a personal trainer or something, you know what I mean? Like, do you see anything like that happening?
I mean, yeah, I mean, everything's an evolution. Like, we're starting with a podcast. We have a website that we write, articles about and stuff like that. Uh, but we both want to get to a point where we're doing what our inspirations are doing. But we want to evolve to another. You know what I mean? Like, we want to do the same thing, but not really. If that makes any sense. Like, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like we like to do a lot of things. I play a lot of D&D. A lot of the people who I idolize are in that community, and they inspire me to do more creative things. They inspire me to to put stuff out there and keep going. And I want to be there. I want to be, like go to conventions and have like these like talking to people and all that kind of stuff. I want to hear people's stories who like watch something of mine and then like that inspired them to go out and do this too. Like, yes, I want to be that. I don't feel like I'm gonna lose it. I mean, we all have our times. Mental health is a thing, and as long as we keep healthy mentally and physically, I think that is something that is going to keep on going,
Very
keep
cool.
evolving.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, everything I'm kind of doing is its own little track and its own path right now, and I don't see it staying their own individual tracks. I see them converging to be, and we've talked about stuff like that where combining like the fitness, health, nutrition, and the like volleyball coaching and the administrative side of the things that I do, and kind of bringing all of those into one path. And like I said, instead of having several different paths, like I do see them converging, and that could change. I mean, as I get closer to them converging, what I see them converging as now could change.
Right.
It could manifest itself in a different way, but I don't see them staying separate.
Okay. It works. So I'm done.
What about you? You didn't answer your own question.
Well, I'm waiting for you guys to ask yours.
Okay, I got one.
All right.
All right. Okay, so my question is, because I have no grounds for this, I have no experience at all. How has your life changed now that you have kids?
How hasn't it?
Like thinking back to when you were like 21 to 25, and now you have kids and like a house and like careers, and like how different is that now that you have like little ones, like little yous running around?
Well, it's funny because like I know even when we first had our first, I was 24 when our
Mm-hmm.
oldest was born. Um, and I still didn't really feel like an adult. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I like how do I have a kid? And it's funny because today I was putting him to bed and he said, "Well, you're a grown up, so you can do this." Or he said the grown ups can do it. And I said, "Well, am I a grown up?" And he was like,
Oh,
"Yeah, mommy, you're a grown up." And I was like, I don't think I still feel like a grown up, but thank you for that
you just
compliment.
want to
That
be
you
like, stay a kid as long as you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stay a kid. You
Yes.
don't want this.
But it's
And
I feel
almost at the same time, like offended. Like, did you just call me a grown up?
Grown
Yeah.
up, like I'm offended.
but it was one of those things where it was like I've never really thought about that, but like from the time we met to now,
Mm-hmm.
like I've grown up. Like, and a big
Mm-hmm.
part of that is like, yes, you just grow up naturally, but I think having kids, it makes you kind of reevaluate what you really want in life, what you want to be doing, where you want to be going, and it makes you kind of grow up really fast. I mean, not everyone, there are people who have kids and I'm
Or
shocked
still,
by it, but
yeah,
like I'm
still,
like you should probably grow up a little bit.
they're still
But
children themselves. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it made like for me, I grew up. I figured out like what I wanted to do with my life and it's completely different than what 10 years ago I thought I'd be doing with my life.
I think for me, it's kind of the same, but like I always knew how I would be as a parent from like early
Mm-hmm.
on, and I think I kind of like flew into that. But I've grown a lot because of what my kids have taught me. You know, like
Right.
just them being different individual people, different disciplines, working for different people, different ways of talking and explaining things and stuff. But the biggest change that I noticed personally for myself is almost like a memory lapse. And it's
Hmm.
the craziest thing that I haven't heard any parents talking about, but me and Courtney have had some conversations where when we had Michael only, you know, after Michael, we looked at each other at some points and we were like, what did we do before this? You know? And then Philip came and we were like, what did we do before we had two? You know? And like
I don't remember a life without him here.
yeah, like it just flows into like it's seriously like you forget and you like you're just automatically in this new mode that
Mm-hmm.
just feels like that's where it's always been, you know?
And do you feel like there's like time slippage? Like it's just like everything is like flowing into each other, and it's like,
Yep.
where's the time? Where's the time going?
Yep.
Oh, there it goes.
Yep.
And before you know it, they're like
Well, then you look
driving.
Yep.
Like,
but
Exactly.
then you look back on it and like I was talking I think it was to my mom the other day. And I was like, "Well, no, well this happened, but it was before Philip,
Mhm.
but and she was like, "No, Philip was there." And I was like, "Wait, I have no idea what happened when because like
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
like it's that time slippage."
So that's my caveat. Second question: how has COVID and being like either in lockdown or like having to be home a lot has changed your guys' life? Has it, because you're spending a lot of time at home, like with everyone in the same house all the time? Has it changed a lot for you guys or it hasn't?
I think we've actually been one of the lucky couples that it made us stronger.
Mhm.
Um, you know, because it kind of erased all the side stuff that's going on and really
Mm-hmm.
helped us focus on who we wanted to be, who we wanted to be for our kids, what
Mm-hmm.
businesses we wanted to do. And
Right.
you know, like we just really were like we heard a lot of unfortunate stories about couples who were on lockdown with each other and they ended up getting divorces or breaking up or whatever, you know, and a lot of broken family situations. And
Mm-hmm.
we were one of the lucky ones where it like me and Courtney have like a crazy flowing relationship where like
Mm-hmm.
ever since the moment, literally the moment that we met, it's just been blend, you know, like we've just
Mm-hmm.
been a solid combination of each other. And, you know, when I think that just got strengthened over that time, you know. I've never had like any type of relationship that flows like ours does, and everybody's like, how do you guys keep your sanity and how do you maintain the 3 kids? And it's the way we work as a team, and like with starting up our own businesses, like over like I procrastinated for a while after I graduated IIN, and I kind of like I was throwing up a web page here and there, and I did some things, and I was like, yay, let's post about this. But it wasn't
Right.
until Courtney got up and started her Beachbody business that I was
Out of
like,
nowhere.
yeah, that I was like, I really do want to work on myself, and I really do want to bring my whole journey. And I think I just had to follow her example and dive into it. So to answer your question, in my eyes, it's been a lot of positivity,
Mhm.
and
Which is good.
yeah, and the only downfall would be like we had to keep our kids away from a lot of people. So like our infant Mila, she's not an infant anymore. She's almost a year, but the first year of her life, she's not exposed to that many people because we were on lockdown.
Well, because
Right.
usually with babies, like 3 months is when like they start
Yeah.
getting their shots, so you can start bringing them out. And I mean, 3 months is for her is when everything shut down.
Shut
Like
down.
right before she turned 3 months, it was like a week or two before. Um,
Right.
and I didn't realize that she had social anxiety, just completely off topic, until we actually like went somewhere, and it was family members of mine that she just had never met. It was probably in like September, I think this was, and I had to hold her the entire time. And I was like, "Oh, you're a COVID baby. Like you just don't know anyone."
Yep, and
Mm-hmm.
the masks completely affect her because it's a psychological thing for babies to see facial expressions.
Yeah.
So when she's around a group of people, she's like in the dark because she does not know how these people feel, or what they're thinking or what they're expressing.
Right.
But I think for me, it's the same thing. Like I think you had mentioned how like it made all the side things kind of go away. And I know with my full time job, I have a very busy schedule. I work 6 to 7 days a week and it's long hours. And if I have a game, I'm gone until 11 o'clock at night if it's during the week. And that's just back to the Bronx. I then have to still drive home. If it's a weekend, I'm leaving the house at 7 and I'm coming home at 9. Like it's a long day. And so it like stopped all of that. It like was like, "Hey, you don't have that now."
Time for a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, like luckily I still have a job, but um it was like, "Okay, like you can I can focus on family time." And um that's when I was like, "All right, I can't just sit around for I don't know how
No.
much longer." Like I've been doing that since December, being on maternity leave. I was like, I just got to get up and do something. And that's when I was like, "Wait a minute, I love this. I've
Mhm.
never loved working out,
Mm-hmm.
but now I love this and I wanna do something else with that." So, like Josh said, it was a blessing for us.
It's always been in the back of our mind with fitness and nutrition, but I think eliminating all the other excuses that could possibly come up, work and
Mm-hmm.
having to do this and having to do that and being restricted from all that was
Oh
really
yeah.
was really like, well, now we have
You
nothing to
got all the time in the world.
yeah, like this is what we've been blaming it on, so let's take advantage.
Right.
Well, I have 2 questions. So, 1, what would you say to yourself from 3, 4 years ago if you could go back in time?
For me?
Yeah,
Mhm.
for both of you,
Oh.
but whoever wants to answer
Oh.
first.
Whew. Put the cheeseburger down. Smack. Uh, I don't know. Get off your ass.
Yeah, just that simple.
Good and simple, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's and
Pretty
knowing
much.
Chris, there's very well an opportunity that he might have force choked his past self. So
Probably. Get off your ass and stop with the excuses
Yeah.
Mhm.
because you can do it. Put your mind to it.
Yeah,
In the words of a wise man. So like
there's a song in there somewhere.
somewhere, yeah. But like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm glad I did it now.
Mm.
But yeah, if I could have started it earlier would have been great. I mean, there's pros and cons to every situation, but more pros than cons. So, but yeah, if I could have tell myself 3 years ago, I'd be telling myself it's going to be okay. For one thing, things are going to change, but for the better. But you need to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time like now. Stop.
That's a really good answer. Yep. That's a good one.
Stop making excuses for yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And
very true.
If I had to say it for myself, I don't think I would. I don't think I would say much of anything, because like I used this quote today when talking to a vet that I was working with, and we were talking about our kids. We were talking about like Philip and his experiences and stuff like that. And I went back to a quote that my father once told me, which is, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face what to do, and I can give you the best advice in the world, but you, Josh, he said, he's like, but you need to live it and you need to experience it before it changes in your mind. So being the self that I am now, I think I'd be 100% more receptive to anything somebody from the future would have told me. But I don't know if it would have been the same story if I went back and said something, and I often wonder, like, if I did go back and say something, would it have the effect that it does on me now?
Right.
Like, would I have tried something, gave up, and ended up in a worse situation, or would I have ended up better? Like, for whatever particular reason, I'm on my journey that I'm on,
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So the second part to that would be, if you could go forward in time, what would you ask yourself from 2 or 3 years in the future? Or what would you say or ask yourself? If anything.
Get the Infinity Gauntlet and make sure Thanos don't snap.
Is COVID still a thing?
Please come back and let us all know.
Did we make it?
Is Joe Biden still president? Well, I mean, I really don't know. I guess I would. If like I could go in the future, I don't know, because I mean, I'm hoping that I'm where I want to be in the future. But I would ask myself, probably, is it worth it?
That's a good question to ask yourself.
Was the effort worth it? Like, where are you?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that's good. I think that's something we
I got chills from that. Damn, dude. No, that's a good one. That's it's like following Hendrix on stage with your little cheap toy guitar, and now you're like the whole crowd's just waiting to, like, is he gonna play? Like, nope, I'm walking off. Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye. I'm out.
But, to move forward in the future, if I was at this point that I'm at now, I'd probably say thank you and just leave it at that. Because, on my point with what I was talking about with going in the past, like, you don't know where you're going to end up in the future, but like being as quote unquote woke as I've become on my journey now, I can only imagine some of the possibilities that are coming up, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Just the fact that I'm 100 yards further than I thought I would be at this point is such a magical thing,
Right.
And just having the mindset that I have now, where I can understand, like, oh my God, these are the deep things that my dad tried to teach me, or these are the deep things.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. Yeah.
These are
the lessons that you that you got from your parents. Now that you're their age.
Yeah.
Now that you're their age when they were telling you these things.
Yep.
You're like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I get what they were saying.
And even noticing the stuff like, like the circumstantial things, or the what's the word? the stuff that's happening by chance, the coincidences or whatever. And you start noticing patterns, and you start seeing like a flow, like an ebb and flow to your life's journey. And being open to that it's an extensive thing, and that's the only way I can really put it, with giving it all the respect that I can. It's it's intense, and it's a wonderful thing. So that would be literally all I would have to say is, wherever you are in the future, thank you for being me at this point,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it beats Chris's yet, though.
I think they're on par.
I didn't get chills from mine, so.
Oh, man.
So I think it's been a good time, man.
Yeah.
I think it's been
absolutely.
It's been a fun show.
We got some deep dives.
Yeah, I was really excited to do this, because I knew you would be the perfect person for receptive. Just even Courtney asked me before the show. She goes, "Oh, so what are the talking points we're going to go over and whatever?" And I said, "This is the email, but good luck, because we're just going to wing it." So
it sounds like it went well.
Yeah, and it's been great. I had a good time.
I think sometimes that's the best way to go. Just wing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go by the seat of your pants and hope for the best.
Yep. So
I think
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
There was a gem of brilliance in there.
No, I have no idea.
So, if somebody wants to get in touch with you for just to chat, or are you open to that? Are you receptive to
that? Absolutely. Yeah. They can reach me at Wonderboy25 on Twitter, or that dude 27 on Instagram. And the podcast is at Midnight Roll on both Twitter and Instagram.
And we'll put all that in the show notes.
Yep, I'm going to include all that stuff in the show notes. And
yep, I am very receptive to chatting. I try to get to answer any kind of messages that I get. I try to, and message back in a timely fashion.
Just don't you dare ask him about terrible coffee. That you might get ghost added. And I'm talking about that scene where
I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm no expert, but I'm still learning.
That's a good way to be, because I think that's the way it is. I don't, somebody asked the vet once that I was working with. She's a very holistic vet, and so I pick her brain every chance I work with her. And she told somebody, she goes, "I don't think you ever stop learning when it comes to nutrition and exercise and lifestyle and all this stuff. Like, it's a continuous process." So
you never stop learning.
Yeah. But Chris, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being on. It was really fun.
Yeah, man. We had a good time.